King's Daughters Medical Center and Brookhaven Urology are pleased to announce the addition of Dr. Joel Duff to their medical staff. Dr. Duff specializes in general urology, kidney stones, men's and women's urological health, and diagnosing and treating urologic cancers. Don't let these health issues restrict your lifestyle and keep you from enjoying life with your family and friends. Dr. Duff and the staff at Brookhaven Urology are here to serve your needs. To make your appointment, call 601-833-5713 today.
Again, if you'll keep your mics muted and put your name in the chat, we'll get started today with Steve.
Coach, a lot of rumors and speculation out there. Are you guys playing a football game this week? And if so, who's it going to be against?
I think we're prepared to play against Georgia. That's what we've heard predominantly. There are rumors swirling and things like that. If any of them happen to be true, you guys might actually know before I do. And if you do, I'd appreciate it if you'd alert me immediately. And then I could prepare accordingly. But yeah, everybody's trying to keep it matched up as this stuff enters into, what kills you is the contact tracers. That's what exacerbates the numbers. And then, of course, they're out for a period of time. And so if somebody's a contact tracer, whether, they're not even positive, but they're in the car or in the apartment or something like that, then all of a sudden they're out for 12 days or whatever it is. That's the part that gets awfully tough to overcome.
Quick follow-up to that too, Coach. With being off last week, what all were you guys able to do last week, and how would you kind of assess your readiness for this week?
We practiced with what we had. We practiced with what we had, and I thought we had good practices.
Next, we'll go to Ben.
Mike, I guess kind of following up on that, do you feel like you're going to have enough guys above that threshold to be able to play this weekend?
I hope so. I don't have a crystal ball on this, and some of these cat science is different. So who knows? Everybody follows the science, but none of the science is congruent. It all contradicts one another. So I'll just follow their process and go the direction they point me. So
go back to Steve.
Coach, what stands out about Georgia in your film review of them?
Veteran, big, physical. I think that kind of covers it. Veteran, big, physical. Yeah. And then, play with a certain amount of passion, aggression. Obviously one of the better teams in the league. So.
John?
Mike, do you have an update on the quarterback situation? Who do you think you're going to trot out there in Athens? Do you think Will's ready for it, or is KJ healthy enough and kind of earned that spot? And how have they been practicing this week?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we haven't started this week specifically until tomorrow, as far as the practice portion goes. So I'll know more by Thursday.
Joel?
Mike, how feasible would that be if for whatever reason your schedule was to change suddenly, later today, and all of a sudden you're playing a different opponent on Saturday than you thought you were going to? Just how feasible is that to get ready for such a thing?
Oh, it'd be an unmitigated, torturous nuisance. I mean, what was it? Cal and UCLA got 36 hours notice or something crazy. I can't remember, but no, it'd be very difficult. I've been up all night last night watching film and taking notes and writing stuff down, and I'll be at it tonight, and to try to pinpoint things a little bit, and then all of a sudden for them to change, it'd be pretty tough.
Next, we'll go to Gary.
Hey, Coach, to kind of follow up on what Joel was asking, I guess with having an extra week to prepare for Georgia, assuming that it is still Georgia, did that kind of give you a little bit more time to kind of watch film and learn a little bit about them and kind of get your guys ready for that?
Well, it was tough because also they were talking about we were going to play Auburn a bunch of the time too. So, because you guys have heard the same stuff I have, and so it's kind of coming and going a little bit, but. And then the other thing, we were limited with who we had, that's why we had to, we couldn't play last week because we were under the threshold. So we were pretty limited with bodies. So
we'll go back to Ben.
Mike, with Marcus Murphy opting out of the rest of the season, are y'all expecting him to be back with the team next year, or is he expected to go to the NFL? Have you guys sort of sorted that out?
No, I don't know what exactly he'll do. He's dealing with some family issues. I know that portion of it. The NFL, you'd have to ask the NFL people, but yeah, I would doubt that.
We've got time for a few more. Again, if you have any questions, just put your name in the chat. We'll go back to John.
Mike, obviously this is an incredibly unprecedented season. And, you guys going from not being able to play last week against Auburn and now getting ready for this matchup, but, you could end up playing someone else, and the schedules these last 4 weeks could end up changing. How kind of difficult or frustrating has this kind of been? I know everyone's dealing with the same thing, but how frustrating has it been, and how have you been keeping your guys kind of in gear to not, get too caught up in any distractions with this stuff?
Well, the distractions have been very frustrating. I think they have for everybody, fans and everybody. But we try to, just during practice, just lock into practice. And to be perfectly honest, I think practice has been one of the most pleasant reliefs that our players have had. And I'm sure it's probably the case around the country. I mean, practice is that one portion where you get to get away from things and just kind of, lock into your teammates and go out and try to improve. So I think that practice has actually been kind of a relief in a lot of instances this year.
Go to Tyler.
Mike, it's looking like JT Daniels might be playing quarterback for Georgia this weekend. What do you remember about him from y'all's time in the Pac-12 together, and what kind of a threat does he pose to your team?
Good player, throws the ball well. I mean, I was impressed with him. Yeah, the statuesque guy throws the ball well.
Steve?
Coach, halfway through the season now, your defense has probably exceeded expectations. How would you kind of characterize the job they've done, and have they exceeded your expectations?
I think they've done well. We got a crazy number of young guys playing, some insane number that's 39 out of 63 or something, or sophomores or less. And so, I mean, I think they have done a pretty impressive job as far as, getting a bunch of young guys together on the same page. I think a couple of our players have done a good job as far as just, creating energy and example, the handful that we have that have played before. But I think they've done some good things rallying together under the circumstances.
Go back to Tyler again.
Yeah, Mike, John kind of mentioned it earlier with how weird and crazy this year has been. But from a practice standpoint, you said you guys were able to practice quite a bit during the week off. How different does a practice look when you say you're dealing with a lot of guys out? Is it harder to practice, or do you feel like you're still getting the same amount of work that you need to get in to get better?
No, it's impossible to get the same amount of work. I mean, that's, I mean, there's a big difference between practicing with a full load of players and a handful. You try to get reps, though. You try to get reps, and then you just have to limit it. And then, if you're short a few positions, then it kind of limits what others can do with regard to a team setting. So you try to get in what you can.
Anything else, guys? Joel?
Mike, I guess what's the for the rest of the day, kind of what's the schedule like for you? Is it just prepare for Georgia unless you hear otherwise from somebody else, or is there conversations to be had? What's kind of the, I guess, procedure the rest of the afternoon?
You pretty well nailed it. I wish I could be 100% specific, but you pretty well nailed it. I'm going to go down there and watch a bunch of film on Georgia and hope that it's kind of precise in who we play. And if it's somebody else, then, well, there will be a lot of late nights and scrambling around. But, You know, I mean, as opposed to nobody being allowed to play football, you know, because there's been a lot of madness that goes along with all this stuff. And I'd much rather play than not play, you know, so.
All right. Thank you, Coach.